Hello everyone, my name is Kristina Werner and I am here to walk you through my very first release with Concord and Ninth. This is for September 2024. Like my Christmas sweater implies, this entire release is holiday themed, so I hope you enjoy. I have a total of 17 cards that I've created with all of the products. So I'm going to be showing you the products themselves and then some examples of things that I've created with them. So let's get into it. Here is the Merry Trees bundle. You've got the Merry Trees 6x6 stamp set, the coordinating dies plus a couple pieces, and then the Merry Trees stencils. So on the back of the packaging for both the dies and the stencils, it gives you some ideas on how you can use all of the products in coordination with the stamp set. So as you can see on the dies, you have the line of trees. This cuts out this line of trees right here, as well as the trees that you can create with the stencil. You will have the large Mary, which cuts out the thin lined letters for the large Mary here. And then you have this line of trees right here, which is an exact size replica of the trees that are on the stamp set. So you can stamp your trees or you can cut them out. So let's look at a few cards made using this bundle. Up first on this card, I stenciled all of the trees. There are 2 stencils in the stencil pack. All right, so as you can see, each line of trees is numbered. You've got 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. So you can choose different colors for each one of these applications. And then on the stencil itself, you have the etched design so that after you've stenciled on those first 3 trees, you can use the etched design to line it up over what you've already inked. So in the end, you have a perfectly positioned line of trees. So that's exactly what I've done right here. And then I took this little freeform tree decoration stamp and it's sized perfectly to go right over these 4 trees. So that's how I use the stencil and the stamp set together. As far as the greeting here goes, I stamped the inline Mary in Versamark ink and then white heat embossed on poppy cardstock. And I did the same thing with the And Bright Holiday Wishes, just a little bit of white embossing powder on top of evergreen cardstock. By the way, this long little die right here is the perfect size to cut out all of these smaller sub-sentiments. So I cut that out and then just with scissors, cut this off at an angle. This next card is all about that line of die cut trees. Remember this die right here that will cut out all those trees. I just cut out a bunch of trees out of different colors of cardstock, including red glitter and also gold cardstock. And then I popped up some on a little bit of foam tape and others I glued directly to the card front. And then I've got my stamped greetings right here and then trimmed out. This next card uses the Merry Trees words. I've done that inline white embossing on top of eucalyptus cardstock, cut it out with the dies. I used the Merry Christmas greeting and I used that long die to cut it out. And I've also paired it with a couple other products from the release. We've got the Winter Berries die as well as the Gift Bows die. This last one is a lot of fun. I stamped the large inline Mary in poppy ink on ballet slipper cardstock. I also used this diagonal stripe stamp from the Merry Greeting Builder stamp set. So as far as the Merry Trees go, I stamped these trees first in some parsley ink, and then before I moved that stamp out of my MISTI, I inked up the bottom of the trees with some evergreen ink and then stamped the bottom. So I've got a little bit of a gradient going from a light green to a dark green. And then as far as those little dots go, I just used a white gel pen to add a little bit of details on top of those trees. So that is the Merry Trees stamps, dies, and stencil pack. Hope you enjoyed. Can't wait to see what you create. The Peace, Joy, Love frames dies have 6 dies. You've got the interior word with the frame, and then you have an outer rectangle. On the back of the packaging, you can see some examples of how these dies can be used all together. and let's look at some cards made using these dies. This first card has the rectangle cut out of poppy cardstock with the gold piece frame and words. I think it looks so pretty, especially with that stenciled background. The diagonal stripes come from the Merry Greetings Builder stamp set. I'm using some of those same stencils and stamps along with the love frame. This time I used some ballet slipper cardstock and then poppy cardstock for the word and frame. And these last two cards have a similar look. I wanted to use the Gift Bows dies along with this, and it pairs so well with these frames. So I've got the Joy frame and the Peace frame. I used the berry stencil in the background on poppy cardstock with cranberry ink, and then I paired it with gold glitter cardstock and gold cardstock. So that is the Peace, Love, Joy die set. The Berries and Leaves bundle includes 3 products. We've got the Berries and Leaves stencil pack, Winter Berries stem layering dies, as well as the Gentle Berries stem layering dies. All of these products work together seamlessly. Just something to note that all of the berry sizes are exactly the same. So just a little tip, if you somehow lose a berry die, like an interior berry, you might want to use this smaller die and just cut that little section right there, because you can cut out 8 berries all at once. Okay, let's get into some of the cards I made using these dies and the stencil pack. These cards right here all feature the Peace, Love, Joy frames dies, but I also used that stencil pack, which is really kind of fun. The stencils themselves are 6 by 9, so they're really large. You get 4 stencils, and there are different ways to use each one. This one that has the design all by itself can be used individually for designs like this, where you've got, you're going to be stenciling over the entire area for the full design. The other 3 stencils can be used together to create tricolor designs. So you've got the leaves, the berries, and the background. I really went to town with this stencil pack, so I've got quite a few cards. I've also got this one that has that same tone-on-tone red stenciling. Here's this one with the blue. I used Midnight ink for the background, and then poppy for the berries and parsley for the leaves. This one right here has eucalyptus in the background and those same colors for the leaves and berries. And then this card has just a small little section. It was actually a little piece of one of the stenciled backgrounds I used for a different card, and I thought it was too cute to pass up, so I had to use that small section on a card. So let's focus in on the other 2 dies that are in this bundle. This is the larger Gentle Berries stem layering dies. This is a 5 by 7 card, so you can really see how large that is. And as you can see on the dies, you have a base layer as well as the detailed design. So when you use these 2 together, you get a completely independent die cut that you can move around on your card. So I did the same thing with the Winter Berries layering dies. You have a base layer and then the design layer. Here's another example of the smaller berries dies. I've got a couple of examples for this. I love like mixing and matching different colors on the berries. Here are a couple examples of the larger die. This one I've cut out in gold, and this one I've got white in those colors again. And then on this final 5 by 7 card, I've combined both of those together so that you have like a continuous spray of berries and leaves. As you can see, I really went hog wild with all of these berries and leaves dies and stencils. Tons of fun to work with and really versatile. I love pairing them together. The Gift Bows dies are some dies that I've been wanting to do for a while. I love little dainty bows on cards, also on presents if I'm being honest. So I thought it'd be really fun to have a set of dies that would cut everything you need to add either dainty bows or maybe a little bit more of a substantial bow to your cards. Here's an example where I've used just the dainty bow and also the 2 little strips for the strings, and I've cut it out of some silver. The dies themselves, you have a 5-inch length and then a 7-inch length. So these can go on up to 5 by 7 cards, Or if you want to have some other dimensions, you've at least got this 7-inch length, and then you can cut it multiple times for all the different directions on your card. So for this one, I adhered them and then just clipped off the excess. Here's another example where you've got some gold right over the top of that berry stencil background. Similar look on this one with the bows right there. Now for both of these, when I adhered them to the card itself, I just overlapped the strings and then glued that bow right on top. It's not too bulky when you adhere it that way, and it works out really well. And then here's an example if you want something that's a little bit more substantial. I thought it would be a little bit hard to have the white string show up on top of this more busy background. So I decided to use the wider dies that are right here, and then layer up the thin strings on top. And here's one final card that I did use the Gift Bows dies on, but it might be a little bit harder to spot. I actually used that thin cut line to create a border around my card. So you kind of see how it offsets the card a little bit there. The teeny tiny little strings that the Gift Bows dies cut are the perfect width to add just a little pop of gold to this card. So these are the Gift Bows dies. It's a great way to add just a little bit of an intricate embellishment to your cards. The Merry Greetings Builder dies and stamp set are the perfect pairing for tons of fun greetings on your cards. This was actually really fun to design, especially because on the back of the stamp set, you get some ideas on how you can pair up all of the different stamps themselves. And then on the dies, you have examples of what you can do with the dies. So the dies are designed in such a way that you have like the outer shape of the Christmas plus the Christmas word, same for Merry. And then you also have the outer for the words together. The same thing is mimicked over in the stamp set. I wanted to create this in such a way that you could stamp the Merry and Christmas separately if you wanted to create different greetings, but you could also have them together if you just wanted to keep it really simple just for the Merry Christmas. You've also got some larger capital lettered kind of sub greetings that you can pair them together, so you can have like a small Merry Christmas and just kind of stack those greetings together. This is most definitely a builder stamp set, and it's a great way to add a bunch of sentiments onto your cards. So let's look at some of these cards. If you've seen any of the other products in this release, you probably have seen this stamp set and these dies used on those cards, because these products pair really well with everything else in the release. First up, I've got the word Merry that was stamped in ballet slipper ink, and then using the multicolor stamping technique, I added some, I think it was poppy and even a little bit of cranberry at the bottom to get that seamless transition. Then I used the dies to cut it out. I've also got the sub greeting of Season's Greetings right there. And if you notice, the little ribbon ends are shorter than what this die is. I cut that by cutting one side of the Season's Greetings, and then I slid that die over and ran it through my die cutting machine again to get the perfect little ribbon ends. Next up, I've got a really simple pairing of the May Your Holiday Be and then Merry. Really cute to have those paired up together. This one has 3 lines of text from both the stamps and dies. I've got these 2 stamp sentiments, and then I have actually die cut the Merry out of poppy cardstock and then glued it to some white for that kind of shadow layer. This card has some white embossing on the stamping. I've used the really simple greetings, so wishing you a happy Christmas. As I was playing with all of the dies, this was one of my favorite pairings, having the shadow layer cut out of a glitter cardstock and then putting the white words right on top. Then I popped it up on my card. That turned out super cute, and it's like a really great substantial focal point on the card itself. Here's another one where I've got 4 different die cuts. So it says, wishing you a Merry, Merry Christmas. I've paired up different colors of cardstock with different inked stamps. This was parsley cardstock with evergreen ink. Got ballet slipper cardstock with poppy ink. Then I've got poppy ink on the white cardstock right here as well. The greeting up here is in gold. I loved that glitter background with the white on top, so I repeated it with just the word Merry, and then I put the Christmas right below. And we're still going. I told you I use this stamp and die set a lot. So we've got the wishing you a happy and then Christmas right below. This one is the die cut word on top of the die cut kind of shadow layer. And last but not least, this is the final card for showing the stamps. I've used the diagonal stamp right here on the bottom, and then just a really simple Marianne Bright stamped in cranberry and poppy. Oh, and I almost forgot. This right here, the diagonal in the background, that's from the stamp set. And I just stamped that in evergreen ink on parsley cardstock and then trimmed it out almost so it looks like a strip of washi tape. I think that turned out really cute. So this is the Merry Greetings Builder Bundle. So many fun things you can create with this, and I think this is one of those stamp and die sets that pairs well with a bunch of different holiday products. Thanks so much for watching the walkthrough. I have a video for most of these cards. Some I created before I started filming for this walkthrough, so some I don't have footage for, but for the ones that I do have video footage for, I will be creating and editing videos for my own YouTube channel, so watch for that. Thanks so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see what you all create.